All right, people, this is gluing and cutting 101. To keep your scissors license from elementary school, you're gonna do what I share. And to ensure that you know more about gluing than a little kid, you're also gonna do what I show. So you're gonna pretend like this is a frame that I'm going to glue my artwork that I create onto. And I'm going to first ensure that what I'm going to create is going to actually line up with my artwork, so I know where I'm going. I'm gonna make a frame of sorts that I think looks accurate. We're gonna pretend like I measured it, and the reason why I'm just ensuring this before I cut or glue is simply because when I do these things, it's going to allow me to make sure that my work is prepared for actually gluing. So as you can see, I drew out a little frame, and if you can see the glare of my lines, which I believe you can see I didn't quite cut there. Those were my guides, figure out where I really should cut. Try to keep it straight with the edge of the paper. So I would make sure that works. Okay, we're gonna pretend like this is it. Now, as you saw, I already started cutting. How I want you to control your scissors is that rather than turning your paper willy-nilly fast and using your scissors in full form and turning them a lot, I want you to actually use the scissors barely. You're going to make small cuts using the back. The back is referring to here. That would be the front. And you can use the front as well. I want you to barely open your scissors and close them. And I want you to more often move your paper slowly when it's necessary than doing these long, slow cuts with the scissors like this. What the little cuts do is almost like when you're drawing in a sketchy style. You can plan decently when you're going slow, but these little cuts allow you to move the scissors when you need. It gives you more control. So if you notice, my scissors are still in view because I did not change that they're facing outwards towards me, or excuse me, away from me. And I'm trying to move my paper more than anything else. So every time I make a little cut, I am pushing this paper into the edge, the back edge of the scissors. And I just keep going. And we're gonna be like, that looks good. So see right here, I could have kept cutting. There's a little glare, you can see. Yeah. I could have kept cutting, but I felt like I was losing control. So now I'm gonna use the front of the scissors and make a small cut. And we're ready to glue. This is just a scrap piece of paper, so I'm gonna attach it assuming that this was a straight line, and I can even cut that later. But the bottom corners are on the left-hand side here, so I'm gonna do that. When you are gluing using the liquid glue, I want you to be aware of where you're placing the glue, and I want you to be aware of where your hands are. So first thing to notice, what I just did was I did a line, a line, a line, a line, very fine. So my little tip to you is do a line, line, very fine. Go close to the very edges and make sure it's not a lot of glue whatsoever. When it's liquid glue, we will use our finger to smear it in. We do not want it raised up. We want it to be flat and shallow and low profile with the paper. So we need to rub it in. As you can see, I just got on the table here, and if you get it on the table, you need to immediately address it so that way it doesn't get on any other paper or on your clothing, and you can wipe it away with your finger. But to ensure that it's wiped away, you know, it kind of looks like residue of an eraser. It turns into these little fibers, and you can just rub and then make it go go away. Once I finished rolling my finger around to rub it in, smear it, I had a little bit of residue on my finger still, and all I did was I smeared it on the center on the back. That would be perfect for the excess. Don't put it on your pants or on the table. So now when I put this on, what should happen is because I smeared it all in, it should lie flat along the black paper. And my finger is clean. That's important because if my finger was not clean, what would happen then is that, ooh, got a little crevice there. There we go. That I could be ruining the front of my artwork. Anything that's on your fingers could transfer to your image. So if you did not want your image to have a residue and you didn't clean your fingers or check, you could be going like this, rubbing, and it would actually, it would ruin your artwork potentially. So this has been attached. I checked by rubbing it in, but normally you can't just rub your hands all over your artwork like that. So I'm going to cut out a shape really quick. We're gonna pretend that heart looks amazing. Actually, we're gonna go bigger for the sake of this demo. And we're gonna use stick glue, and then also I'm gonna show you what I really want you to do to ensure that your paper is on there good and well, but I didn't like that shape, so I'm changing a little bit. Good and well, but also that you don't ruin your artwork. So I'm gonna show you two different things that I didn't show you before. I'm just changing the shape of the heart. I'm disregarding my lines because they were my guidelines, kind of like the original one. Still going slow, still doing little cuts and rotating my paper. And then up, boop, there we go. He looks good enough. I'm gonna actually flip it over to that side. It'll be what's glued, so that works. Okay, so trying not to smear my artwork and also ensuring you know how to use the stick glue. I'm gonna show you the two things I mentioned. One, you can lay another piece of paper underneath your actual artwork. It could be any paper. That is a scrap paper, so not the handouts on the tables, not your sketchbook. But this would be because when you do this, you won't get glue on the table, you'll get it on this, and then you can just throw that away. So that's one technique to ensure you have less cleanup, and then you don't have excess stuff on your fingers. So I'm gonna throw this away, and I'm gonna glue this on. Oh, I just said I was going to not use that side. Oh well. So it's ready to go, and I'm centering it. What I don't want you to do is smear your fingers all over this. On any artwork, you just tap it in place just a little bit. Then, ensuring your table is clean, you flip it over, and then you rub it in real nice like that. Smash it, boom, there you go. When you flip it over, your artwork is flat on the artwork. And when you use stick glue, sometimes we don't use enough. So if I try to move it, check the edges, I can see that it's secured very well. The final thing you can do, that is not something I'd plan to show you, but I'm going to now. Final thing you can do is when you are noticing that there might still be a ripple, your artwork still doesn't seem entirely flat, you can leave it under a textbook. So the textbooks are right next to the safe seat with zigzags. And when I flatten it, like so, with the textbook on top, what happens is after a day of staying under the textbooks, any type of ripple that I could see on the front or the back or even from the side will be gone. And you can use more than one textbook. I typically use two. That should do the trick. Let me know if you have any questions. This should tell you how to glue and cut.